Welcome to Pass the Turn. This is another Tabletop Tuesday segment, and today we're just going to be playing a little cooperative game called Forbidden Island. I'm going to do a solo run through of this game where I play two characters. It's very, very similar to Pandemic, where you have to collect a set of cards based on different artifacts that are lying around in the island. And once you've collected them all, you have to go back to your helicopter pad and escape before the island sinks under its sort of mysterious and rather bizarre circumstances and geography. If you're liking the content so far, whether it be Magic, board games, or the like, hit the bell button, the like and subscribe button, please. That'd be great. So let's get down to the table and see how it plays. I'm running quite late for work, so I have to do this as soon as humanly possible, just to get something out for Tabletop Tuesdays, because you have been slacking a little bit recently. We'll see you down there. So, I've pretty much set out the board already, but the first thing to do, it says here, object. Your team of adventurers must work together to keep Forbidden Island from sinking, in order to buy enough time to capture its 4 treasures. Once you've captured them, you must make it to Fool's Landing, which is there, not King's Landing, but Fool's Landing, and escape by helicopter to win. If, however, the island sinks before you can complete your tasks, the mission ends in defeat. So here we go. Set up the Forbidden Island in this particular shape. I've already shuffled all the tiles here, so you don't have to worry about doing that. And then shuffle the island tiles randomly, yep. Yep, okay. Forbidden Island, yep, that's been done. Place the treasures. Place the 4 treasured figurines, the Earthstone, Statue of Wind, Crystal of Fire, and Ocean Chalice around the island. Your team will try to capture these treasures during the course of the game by discarding 4 matching treasure tiles or cards on a corresponding island tile. Take a moment to locate the 8 tiles on which you can claim the treasures. Each treasure can be claimed on one of the 2 tiles as indicated. So, these are just for aesthetic purposes. Let's just place this lion guy over here. Let's place this chalice over here. Earthstone can go over there, and this awesome looking fire thing can go there. Step 3, divide the cards. Separate the cards into 3 decks according to the card back. Flood deck, treasure deck, and adventurer cards, which we've already done. So the flood deck and the treasure deck are over there, and the adventure cards are just there. So, the island starts to sink. So shuffle the flood deck and place it face down on one side of the island to form the flood draw pile, and draw the top 6 cards one at a time and place them face up next to the draw pile to form the flood discard pile. Now for each drawn, flip the corresponding island tile over to its flooded side. So let's do this. So 6 cards from here. So first of all we have a copper gate. So the copper gate, I locate that, which is there, and I flip that over to its flooded side. That's the copper gate. Next is the Howling Garden. Howling Garden is over here. So that flips over to its flooded side also. Number 3 is the Cave of Embers. Absolute Aladdin ripoff. Then we have a Tidal Palace. Tolarian Academy. Then we've got a Observatory, which is over there. Whoopsie. And then finally, the last place that's flooded is the Cliffs of Abandon. That sounds like a sick magic card. Cliffs of Abandon, where are you? There we go. Cliffs of Abandon. That's where I was raised as a child. Okay, so once we've done that, the adventurers appear, which is us. I mean, just me. But I'm playing 2 characters, basically. So, shuffle the 6 adventurer cards and randomly deal 1 to each player. Each of you will take on the role of an adventurer with a special power that you can only do during the game. Take a moment to read aloud your roles and powers written on the bottom of the card so that your teammates to know their strengths. You'll find the game will be easier to win if you cooperate and take advantage of these special powers. But not each other. Don't take advantage of each other. That's bad. Okay, so, let's go. I've got the random Navigator and Diver. I love navigating and diving. Women. So we take across the pawns, not pawns, but pawns. So let me just put that on there like that. So we've got the Navigator and the Diver. Now, where you spawn is based on the gate. So we've got the gold gate, so the Navigator spawns over there. And we've got the dark gate, iron gate, there we go, iron gate, there it is. Cool. So they're both spawned on their retrospective tiles, which is lovely. Now I'll hand out the treasure deck cards, thoroughly shuffle the treasure deck, which is over here, which I've already done, and deal 2 cards to each player, and place your cards face up in front of you so that both you and your teammates can easily see them. If anyone gets a Water's Rise card, give them a replacement and shuffle the Water's Rise card back into the deck. Place the treasure deck face down by one side. Okay, so the Navigator gets a Ember card, and the Navigator gets a Lions card. Diver gets a Chalice, and the Diver gets Sandbags. Okay, so here we go. That is pretty much ready to play. Also, we have to set the water level. Now I'm setting the water level to the elite section because I think I'm going to be able to do this. I'm just putting it up. Let's put it up to legendary because I'm stretched for time, and let's put it up to legendary. So we've got an easier chance to lose quicker. So we have to make the right decisions. Order of play. The player who last visited an island goes first. So, Aaron, when did you last visit an island? I don't know actually. Last visit an island. That would be Mallorca. So I think I would go first. Yeah, I'm going to go first. Cool. So I'm going to take on the persona of the Navigator, who last visited Mallorca, which was very, very nice, by the way. Take up to 3 actions. The order of play is number 1, take up to 3 actions, draw 2 treasure deck cards, and then draw flood cards equal to the water level. Now the water level is currently 3, so let's go first. The Navigator is going to go first. He's going to take 3 actions, and on your actions, you can move, you can shore up, or you can give a treasure card or capture a treasure card. So the Navigator has currently got a Ember and a Lion, so he wants to either go to the Embers or the Lions, or no, he doesn't want to do that yet because he doesn't have the cards to do so. So best thing to do really would be to shore up some of these things. He's a Navigator, so what's his special ability? He can move another player up to 2 adjacent tiles for 1 action. That's interesting. So already got analysis paralysis setting in, but I have to just go with my gut because I don't have much time. So let's go over here as 1 action. Then I'm going to shore up, which means you flip one of these tiles over. Because if you ever draw a copper gate while it's in its blue flooded format, this tile will get removed and it will make it harder to navigate through the board. So I'm going to go from the gold gate over to the copper gate as 1 action. Then I'm going to shore up this action here. That's another action there. And then I'm going to move down again to the watchtower. Now my guy would draw 2 cards. So Navigator will get a Water's Rise card, which is great. So move the water level up 1 tick. So this goes up to there. Shuffle the flood discard pile and place it on top of the flood draw pile. Whoops. Discard the treasure card to the treasure card discard pile. Discard this card to the treasure discard pile. Yeah, so the treasure discard pile does not return. But this is bad because all the things that I just drew at the start of the game will go on top of the deck now. So, what does it say? Shuffle the flood discard pile and place it on top of the flood draw pile. So, that's not good at all. So he drew a Water's Rise card and he also draws another card, which is another Water's Rise. Okay, so this is going to be a quick game. He's drew 2 Water's Rise cards, so he's upticking it again to here, which means we draw 4 flood cards now, which is not very nice at all. So we've done that, so we've shuffled the card back onto the thing, and then discarded that. Yep, so now we draw 4 of these. So the first one that comes up is Cliffs of Abandon. So Cliffs of Abandon are already flooded, so that disappears. Then we draw a Observatory, which is already flooded, so that also disappears. Then we draw a Howling Garden, which is flooded, so that also disappears. Then we get a Cave of Embers, which is already flooded, so that disappears. So already we've lost 2 areas where we can collect our treasures from, which is not very good at all. So that was a horrific turn from the Navigator. He shored up 1 tile, so that's not very nice. Now the Diver, he's going next, so he gets 3 actions. So he has got a Chalice, so he wants to be collecting chalices really. What can the Diver do? The Diver can move through 1 or more adjacent flooded and or missing tiles for 1 action. Okay, so he can move through them for 1 action. That's not bad. So what does he want to do? He can't really get anywhere. He needs to go over to Tidal Palace really, so he's going to go 1, 2, 3 over to the Cave of Shadows. He's then going to draw 2 treasure cards. So he's going to get a helicopter lift and a chalice, which is great because he needs the chalices. And now he's going to draw 4 cards off the flood deck. So Tidal Palace, that's now disappeared. So that makes his move irrelevant. Next up is the Copper Gate, which is there. That's the one I shored up earlier, so that just flips over again. Next up is the Silver Gate, which is down here, so that flips over. And then lastly is the Iron Gate, which is over here. Not the Iron Throne. That flips over. Like so. Okay, and now it's back to the Navigator again. So the Navigator again is looking for embers and lions. So he is here. He needs to go to... he's going to go down to 1 and 2 and flip. Like so. Then he draws 2 treasure cards. It is an ember, which is what we need. And then he also has a helicopter lift as well. Move 1 or more pawns on the same tile to any other tile, or lift your team off Fool's Landing for the win. So I'm going to keep those in hand. I don't think there is a maximum hand size, is there? There isn't a maximum hand size. You may only have 5 cards in your hand, including treasure and special actions. If you ever find that you have 6 or more cards, you must immediately choose and discard to the excess of... Oh dear. So I've currently got 4 cards in each hand so far. Well, no, yeah, 4 cards in hand each at the moment, which is not too bad. 5 cards in my hand maximum. So it is now down to the flood of the Navigator. So here we go. We've got a Whispering Garden, which is going to start flooding. So that is over there. Then we've got a Misty Marsh, which is going to flood. Then we've got a Lost Lagoon, which is going to flood. And we've also got a Bronze Gate, which is going to flood. So where's the Bronze Gate? Bronze Gate? Where's that then? Am I missing something here? Oh, it's down there. Okay. Alright then. So that's the Navigator's turn. He's going to draw 2 treasure cards. Oh no, he already done that, didn't he? Yeah, he's already done that. So now it's the Diver's turn. He needs chalices. How many cards do I have to trade in for? 4 treasure cards I have to trade in for 1 treasure. Oh, great. Right, so what does sandbags do? Short up any 1 tile on the island. Play at any time. So I'm going to use my sandbags that the Diver's acquired. That can go over there in the treasure discard pile, I guess. And he's going to shore up one of these ones that were flooded earlier. So an iron... Any of these, really. Whispering Garden. Let's shore that up because that's got a treasure icon on it, and we've only got 1 left of those. So we need to make sure that is active at all times. And I've still got some actions left. So what do I want to do here? So I can move through tiles that are missing or flooded tiles. So I'm going to move over here. Then I'm going to move again. So he swims under here like this. And then he's going to shore up the Bronze Gate as his last action. So then he's going to draw 2. He gets a wind line thingy, and then he gets an earth crystal thingy, which is it's not really what he needs, which is a shame. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's got 5 cards in hand. You may only have 5 cards in hand. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 under his Diver card. So he's still got enough cards there at the moment. 1, 2, 3, 4. Navigator's only got 4 cards in hand. Okay, but now the Diver has to flip over 4 flood cards. Watchtower becomes flooded. The Temple of the Sun becomes flooded. That's not good at all. The Gold Gate becomes flooded, which is there. And the Temple of the Moon becomes flooded as well, which is... Where is it? There. So Temple of the Moon has to become flooded as well. So all these temples and stuff that are becoming flooded is not good, because that if any of those things disappear and we haven't collected the treasure, we already lose automatically. So now we draw, that's it. So we've drawn those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoops, I didn't draw the Diver's treasure cards, did I? So he draws 2 of those, which is an earth and an earth. So Diver's got bare earth now. So he can keep this. He can get rid of the line because the other guy's going for that, and he can. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in hand. So he might as well use his helicopter lift, move one or more pawns on the same tile to any other tile. Play at any time. Does not count as an action. Yeah. Okay, he's going to use his helicopter lift now to get over to the Temple of the Sun and try and get rid of that. Try and save that as soon as possible because that's going to go under. Okay, so that's the diver's turn. So now it's back to the navigator's turn, which is there. So he's got 3 actions. He is going to try and save this Earth. So he's going to go 1, 2 and shore up this because you need to save those temples. Then he draws 2 treasure cards. So he draws a chalice and a helicopter lift, which he's going to use the helicopter lift straight away because he's already got one to transport over to the Lost Lagoon, let's just say, just try and shore up those areas. And this chalice, the diver really needs his chalice, so he can get rid of the lion. Well, doesn't need to get rid of it, he's got 5 cards in hand, so that's fine. And now he does 4 of these. Crimson Forest gets flooded. Fool's Landing gets flooded. If Fool's Landing ever floods or gets removed, that's when we lose also, because we can't get off the island if that's flooded. And then also Coral Palace. So a lot of these places now are becoming flooded. So it's sort of tending to spiral out of control now. So we need to get a grip of this and get it done as soon as possible. That's his flooded cards. He's already drew his cards there, which is great. This is discarded because I discarded that down to hand size. And now it is the diver's turn. So the diver, what's he going to do? He's going to shore up Temple of the Sun. And then he's going to move down and shore up the Lost Lagoon, I think. There we go. Shore up Lost Lagoon. Now, he will draw 2 cards, the diver. He's got an ember, and he's got thingy, a lion. So he doesn't really need the lion and the ember, so he's going to discard those, because he's not going for those. He's going for the chalices and the earths. And then he's going to draw 4. Cave of Shadows, which is... Where's the Cave of Shadows? Not there. And then we get a Breaker's Bridge. Then we get a Dunes of Deception. And then we get a Phantom Rock. Oh dear. Right, so now all of those cards in the discard pile, I'm assuming then in that case, mathematically, one of these, we're going to draw a Water's Rise card on the next turn. So that was the diver's turn, now it's the navigator's turn. So he needs to really shore up some of these things. So he needs to go to move and shore up. Move and shore up. Oh, he can't. So he moved, shored up, moved. So he can't shore up the watch, he hasn't got enough. And now the navigator draws 2 cards. So he draws an earth and he draws an earth. So this is great because I've got enough earth to now get the earth thing, but I don't have... that can go, those 2 can go. Chalice and... So he's got 2 earth, 2 fire and a helicopter lift. So the diver really needs to give... No, the navigator, sorry, really needs to give his earth to the diver. Ideally. Right, what happens if you run out of draw cards? Don't know. Doesn't say, does it? When the flood draw pile runs out. If the flood draw pile ever runs out, immediately shuffle the flood discard pile and stack the cards face down to form a new one. Oh dear. Okay, so I've run out of flood draw cards. So I've used the navigator. And now he has to flip over 4 of these. And this is not good because a lot of these places now are flooded, which means that they're all going to start disappearing again. So here we go. Lost Lagoon. Flips over. It's Cliffs of Abandon, where I was raised. That's already gone. Whispering Garden is up here. And then the Breaker's Bridge disappears. Oh no. Okay, so they're discarded. Now it is back to the diver's turn. What's he going to do? The diver needs to give some stuff. Give a treasure card. So the diver is over there. He needs to give his earths to the navigator. So he's going to 1-1, and then he's going to give an earth to navigator. So he's got 3 earths and 2 fires. That's all he can do, really. That's all he can do, the diver. So he's going to draw 2 cards, which is a lion and a water's rise. So diver gets a lion. Water's rise, here we go. Yet again. Move the water level up. Blub, 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 blub. And then shuffle the discard pile back into here. Oh no, it's the discard pile goes back on top, doesn't it? Shuffled. There we go. Goes back on top. Well, that's not very nice. And then draw 4. Okay, so Whispering Garden disappears, and that means we lose. Because the Whispering Garden has disappeared, which means we cannot physically get a lion. Because the Howling Garden has also disappeared, that means that we have no chance of cashing in our cards for the lion. Which means we lose. Damn it! It was extreme difficulty. It was legendary difficulty, though, to be fair. I haven't played this game in a long time. Now, this is one of those games that's very, very much an entry-level board game. This is like a condensed version of Pandemic. Pandemic's a little bit more complicated, but this is a great gateway game into the hobby. And it's very, very old at this point. There's also Forbidden Desert and Forbidden Sky, which has come out after this. But I think this is still the one with the most charm, simply because it's got a lovely little theme, and all these artworks and stuff are just fantastical, aren't they, really? Whispering Gardens. So they all sound like magic cards, basically. Like your Bronze Gates, and that would be your Guild Gates, and Coral Palace is Merfolk Tribal. Twilight Hollow is basically Twilight Mire. Crimson Forest is basically Firelight Thicket. Fool's Landing is King's Landing. You know, it's just awesome. Awesome flavours, but it's a shame we lost. Maybe you'll see us again on the channel at some point. Who knows? Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching this very, very short Tabletop Tuesdays episode. Thank you guys for tuning in to that Forbidden Island playthrough. I got absolutely rinsed. I haven't played that game in a long time, and I was playing as 2 characters, so I could have slipped up, I could have skipped someone's turn, you know, because it was alternating between the navigator and the diver, navigator-diver, so I could have screwed up at some point. Let me know in the comment section below if I did. But it's a great game. It's a very, very good introductory game into the world of board games. So if you haven't really delved into that world, I recommend you start with one of these ones. This is a nice cooperative game that you can play with your friends, and it's very, very simple, very easy to follow, albeit I was 2 characters, so I could have screwed up. Who knows? But again, I was also playing on extremely difficult difficulty. You can scale that water track down a lot to mitigate the fact that it is very, very difficult if you start on the legendary difficulty, of course. But yeah, definitely recommend picking it up. At this point, it's probably really, really cheap. It comes in a nice little tin as well, so it makes a good little travel game, although you do need a little bit of space to play because of the nature of the island. But again, I think it's a really, really nice little game. It introduces roles to each person, so each person that plays gets a certain special ability, which is standard in all those designer games that are out there now. Variable player powers, a little bit of tile placement as well, and navigating that way, and a bit of discovery. It's random every time because you set up the board differently every time. It's just an overall really, really nice basic gateway game into board games. So if you haven't checked it out, you probably would have done. You know, at this point, board games are blowing up in popularity, so you probably have heard of Forbidden Island, but just in case this video gets through to one or someone who hasn't seen it, I recommend it. Thank you very much for tuning in. This has been Pass a Turn, Tabletop Tuesdays, and we'll see you next time.